What's going on, guys? Bingo here, and after a 3-day unplanned vacation, I'm finally back to post another Yu-Gi-Oh! Discussion video. So today I wanted to focus around a idea within the deck building side of Yu-Gi-Oh! About a correct way to build a Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck. Now, we've all heard this term thrown around at locals, regionals, YCSs, or just anywhere in your small testing group. So what the community means by a correct way to build a deck is something that's proven to be successful, and there's just no other way to go about it. And I feel like that extremely limits the creativity as well as the potential for certain decks and archetypes within the community. It makes players afraid to break the mold, it makes players afraid to deviate from what's proven to be successful, and it promotes net decking. Now, I have absolutely no problem with net decking. I'm a player who loves competitive Yu-Gi-Oh!, but I don't have the time to sit down and play for 3 or 4 hours a day and theory craft a list from scratch, or just, I don't have that kind of time. So what I do is I look up a deck list and I play it for a while, and then if there's 1 or 2 things I don't like about it, I change it. But for the most part, outside of my rogue strategies, I don't really build my own decks from scratch. I just don't have the time. And there's nothing wrong with that. But when a player is trying to innovate, a player is trying to improve a strategy, and he just gets shot down by people that are telling him that's not the correct way to play it, rather than going back and forth and having a discussion, that's where I feel like the community is really having a problem. So some examples I'm going to use are the top players in this game, right? Almost every event, the winning deck list, top 8, top 16, whatever, there's always this breakout tech card for one of the best decks of the format or a rogue deck of the format, and nobody thought to play it before. Like this past weekend at the PPG, the Endymion Magician was playing 3 Amorphage monsters. That's completely unheard of in that deck, but he did it, and he had a solid reason for doing it, and now a card that was 50 cents is now $8. It just blows my mind that the community just rinse and repeats with this idea of, okay, this is how we play the deck, right? And then one player or one team just changes the deck, and then bam, that's the way to play the deck from now on. So the community doesn't want to innovate until somebody else does. So it's this weird like cycle of, this is the way to play the deck. Oh, wait, no, this guy topped with this deck list. That's the way to play the deck now. And it just doesn't make sense. So some examples of pro players that are pushing the boundaries of deck lists have been seen throughout pretty much every format. You know, there's always somebody that's trying something new. And the first one I want to bring up is Fusion Sub-Zoo. Fusion Sub-Zoo was by no means standard. It was around since Chakanine came out. And then one guy who got, I think, 16th at a YCS, decided to play Fusion Sub Zodiac. And he figured out he could get 3 or 4 extra draws plus establish his Zoo combo. And that was awesome for that player. Now, eventually, that did become one of the most toxic formats of all time. But my point is, he innovated. He found that specific combo was extremely powerful, and he wasn't afraid to take it to a high-tier event like a YCS. But if you told me, somebody who's playing Zoo that whole time, that I should play Fusion Sub-Zoo, I'd be like, I don't really understand. Okay, can you explain the combo? Like, I don't understand what you're trying to do. And that's where I feel like the community is just really, really lacking. A couple other examples are Shuffle Reborn and Zoo. Shuffle Reborn makes perfect sense. It's an extender that if your board gets broken or you get hand trapped, you still have a way to play. And it makes perfect sense. That card was out for like 2 months before it saw play, and then it became a staple 1 or 2 of after somebody topped the event with it. Now, the last example I want to use was more recently at YCS Atlanta, the 3v3 Defrag Dragon. The Danger Thunder team that made it to the semifinals was playing Defrag Dragon. On paper, that card makes like no sense, but it's a level 4 lower dragon extender that activates the Guard Dragon combo. It's kind of synergizes with the rest of the deck, but that's all they were using it for. Their theory was, it's a guaranteed dragon extender that I want to see in my opening hand. And it worked for them. They made it to the semifinals. But if you told your run-of-the-mill Danger Thunder that they should play Defrag Dragon, they would probably tell you that is the dumbest thing ever and they don't ever want to talk to you again. And I feel like that's the biggest problem with this community, is that they shoot down ideas and it limits everybody. Like, we are the most toxic community out of any card game I've ever played, and I just really wish we could change that. So, to sum it all up, just when your friend comes up to you with an idea or he wants to test a card, instead of just telling him no, have a conversation. Ask him what his ideas behind it are. Give your input. Be like, look for the positives, the negatives, what the card does well, what it doesn't do well. And then maybe it's worth testing. And in testing, maybe it turns out really well. Maybe he wants to take it to an event. But you never would have got that far unless you listened, right? So, guys, that's just something I wanted to talk about really quick. If you've enjoyed the video, if you've liked what I've done, please remember to hit the like, comment, or subscribe. If you want to have a part in the conversation, tell me what you think. Please leave a comment down below. And last thing is, we do a weekly Yu-Gi-Oh podcast where we talk about pretty much anything Yu-Gi-Oh related. This past Sunday, I think we had Marcus Hayden on the chat, and it was a great time. So it's about 30 minutes every Monday. Please check it out. That's pretty much all I got, guys. I've really enjoyed talking to you. Peace out.